Hello, welcome to my channel WWE Pulse.
In this edition of What's the Deal, we're talking about one of the most prestigious titles in all of professional wrestling. A title with such star power that just having your name associated with it can garner you an instant pop from the crowd. A title that has been around for over 50 years, but somehow people still don't understand its significance. Yes, today, we are discussing the United States Championship. Welcome back to another edition of What's the Deal? Let me explain this concept to those of you who may be watching for the first time. The goal of this series is to take topics or objects that have a rich history and culture within professional wrestling and explain why they matter. To put it simply, it's like learning wrestling history without having to read a bunch of Wikipedia articles. Alright, so let's get down to business. The United States Championship, as its name implies, is a championship that represents the United States. But before we go any further here, I want to make something perfectly clear. The United States Championship is not, never has been, and hopefully never will be, a political statement. And to those of you who believe otherwise, please turn off the video right now because you are the type of person who ruined the Intercontinental Championship. Anyway, the U.S. title was created in 1975 by the NWA and would eventually become the top prize in the NWA's largest territory, WCW. The U.S. title is one of only two championships to have continuously been defended in the modern era of professional wrestling. The other being the NWA World Women's Championship, which I covered in a previous episode. Before we continue here, I'm going to give you guys a quick quiz. This should be pretty easy if you pay attention during these videos. What wrestler currently holds the United States Championship? If you said anyone currently signed to WWE, you are correct. But ask because the United States Championship is currently active and defended primarily on the brand known as Raw. Now, some of you might be asking, wait, didn't the United States Championship die when WCW died? Well, that's where things get interesting. You see, the last man to hold the WCW version of the United States Championship was none other than Diamond Dallas Page. At the time, WCW was in a bit of a transitional period, sort of like they were getting ready to close up shop. As a result, the company decided to hold a tournament to crown their final champion. Ultimately, Diamond Dallas Page came out on top, defeating the legendary Sting in the finals to win the title. When WCW officially shut down, all of its championships were abandoned except for one. Because as it turns out, WWE saw the writing on the wall and made an offer to acquire not only WCW's remaining talent, but also its remaining championships. Now, WWE already had the United States Championship at this point, but they decided to retire that version of the title and instead adopt the WCW version. So, with the blessing of DDP, WWE resurrected the U.S. title and placed it on the newly debuted John Cena. This proved to be an excellent move as John took what was at the time a mid-card title and turned it into one of the most important pieces of hardware in the entire company. John did this with his Open Challenge series, which was easily one of the greatest things he ever did during his time in WWE. With this series, John would defend his United States Championship against anybody who stepped up to him. It didn't matter if you were a superstar, an enhancement talent, or even a local extra. If you could step up and defeat John Cena, you would win the United States Championship. As a result of this series, Many wrestlers were given an opportunity that they otherwise would not have gotten. Names like The Miz, Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, and even Zack Ryder got their big breaks because of John Cena, his willingness to put them in the spotlight. Not only that, but it forced people to care about the United States Championship again, as they were no longer content with just having a random title match. Now it became personal. They wanted to see if they could be the one to dethrone John Cena and snap his undefeated streak as U.S. champion. It should be noted that while John was running this open challenge, he was also feuding with WWE legend and then GM of Raw, Mr. McMahon. This feud culminated at the Royal Rumble in 2009 when John successfully defended his title against JBL in a rare non-title match in the immediate aftermath of the match. However, Mr. McMahon cashed in his $1 million championship briefcase, which allowed him to become the new U.S. champion. Despite this, John's legacy as a champion remained intact. He would go on to regain the title later that year, continuing his dominance. Fast forward to 2010, John would once again find himself embroiled in a feud with a member of the McMahon family. This time, it would be Shane McMahon, who would return to action after a 7-year hiatus on Extreme Rules. John defeated Shane in an I Quit match to retain his United States Championship. Following the conclusion of the match, however, John would announce that he was leaving WWE to focus on his rap career. This led to a tournament to crown the new United States champion, which would ultimately be won by The Miz. Over the next decade, the title would change hands frequently, with many different wrestlers holding it at various points, including The Rock. In 2014, the title would undergo a brief period of inactivity after Sheamus vacated it due to injury. It would eventually be won by Rusev, who held it for a considerable amount of time. Speaking of Rusev, he would actually end up vacating the title in 2016 due to real-life issues between himself and WWE. And while that may lead some people to say that the title was retired a second time, that's not technically true. The reason is that WWE decided to hold a tournament to crown a new champion, with the finals taking place at the Backlash pay-per-view in September of that year. During the event, The Miz would defeat Cesaro to win his second United States Championship. The Miz's second reign as U.S. champion would come to an end at WrestleMania 33, when he lost to Dean Ambrose. The following month, it would be announced that the United States Championship would become the primary focus of the newly launched WWE Cruiserweight division. The championship would be defended primarily on the Cruiserweight-centric show 205 Live throughout the next few years. The United States Championship would be defended all over the place, but seemingly nobody cared about it anymore. Nobody watched it 205 Live, and the prestige of the title had waned once again. In 2018, WWE decided to switch things up. They transferred the United States Championship to the SmackDown brand and aligned it with the newly debuted WWE Championship. That's because the champion at the time, Shinsuke Nakamura, would go on to become the first ever WWE champion. Bedoing ties, WWE essentially made the United States Championship a stepping stone to the WWE Championship, giving it new life and making it more valuable than ever. In late 2019, the U.S. title would undergo yet another change when the brand split occurred. This time, the United States Championship was moved to the Raw brand, where it currently resides. The current champion, Seth Rollins, is arguably the greatest to ever hold the title. His 461-day reign has already surpassed the likes of legends like Steve Austin and John Cena. All that being said, the United States Championship still flies under the radar in comparison to titles like the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship. And that's a damn shame. You see, the United States Championship is much more than just a title. It's a symbol of excellence. It represents the very best of what America has to offer in the world of professional wrestling. It is a title that has been defended across multiple generations, and it continues to represent the pinnacle of athletic achievement in the United States. So, the next time you hear people complaining about the United States Championship not being a main event title, make sure to drop some knowledge on them. Educate them on the rich history and tradition of this amazing championship. Make sure they know about all the names that have graced it with their presence. Names like Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, The Rock, John Cena, and yes, even Hulk Hogan. And that's why the United States Championship matters. Now, if you want to learn about another important piece of wrestling history, then I highly recommend checking out my video on the television championship. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. Also, follow me on social media. And
Okay guys, thank you for watching my videos.